Welcome back to the Frank Southern Ice Arena, where the Indiana University Hoosiers are facing off against the Bowling Green State Falcons in the second game of this weekend series. I'm Kelsey Dennehey alongside Andrew Gus. Andrew, do you want to talk a little bit about the last night's victory for the Hoosiers? 10-2. We had 4 different Hoosiers on hat-trick watch. 2 rookies, Nick Castricani and Jack Gustafson, and 2 sophomores, Ethan DiLorenzo and Will Jeremy, who are back on the same lineup after this beginning of the season.
They had a great job last night. I mean, they got the puck to the net. Having 10 goals in one game, I think that's the most we've had all season. So it's really great to see the offense and spread around too. A few guys getting 2 goals, so that's not a bad thing. But the score sheet was filled with lots of different names on it, so that was also great to see.
Absolutely, and another great outcome from last night was the Hoosiers were finally able to succeed on the power play. They are now 1 for 26 on power plays, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't sound great, but it's always a success to get that first one down and out of the way.
Yeah, that was a great start. I mean, as we said, one comes, and then they'll just keep coming from there. You got to get the confidence, get the momentum. So speaking of momentum, it's a big thing for today, right?
Absolutely. We've talked a lot with Coach Weiss and various players about consistency in these Saturday games. And so I'm wondering what you think is the biggest focus for the Hoosiers that they need to have on for the sweep today.
Again, I think it's momentum, as we just said. I think that they need to get the puck going originally right off the puck drop. Don't be slow. Make sure the legs are going. I mean, we've seen 0-3 so far on Saturday afternoon games. We want to make sure that ends today, and especially pick up another point in the ACHA. So make sure the momentum's there, find a way to get off early, and then give Bowling Green no chance.
I think part of that too is the consistency between the offense and the defense, especially in the neutral zone. In these Saturday night matchups, we've seen a lot of turnovers happening in the neutral zone or in the offensive zone that lead to rushes, odd man rushes usually, and they can't catch up, and the offense have a hard time getting to where they need to be. So
Cincinnati 5-2, and Penn State beat Louisville 5-3.
and
Well, it's not quite the Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens gondola, and it's not exactly the catwalk at the Madison Square Garden Mecca in New York City, but it's our home, and we make it homey enough. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another season of club hockey at Indiana University and the second home game of this 2022-2023 season. I'm Sam Weixler for the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network, and alongside me is Garrett Drake. Last night, Indiana overpowered the visiting Falcons from Bowling Green 10-2 in a rout that started off pretty physical.
Yeah, Sam, last night, Indiana really jumped out of the gates looking flashy in their new black uniforms, which they will be wearing again today. And Sam, they're undefeated in black, but they have not won a game yet on Saturday.
Yeah, the Saturday scaries have been quite an issue. And just looking at the comparison between these two teams right now, Indiana's goals per game, only 350, but they really notched that up and brought it when it counted last night.
Yeah, 10 goals, a season high last night. First time they reached the double-digit mark. And they also had their largest lead of the season at 9 as well. So it was great to see the Hoosiers get involved. They had 3 players score multiple goals, and all around it was a great offensive performance.
For the Bowling Green Falcons, struggling now this year under 500. 3-4-0 on the season after the loss last night, and their season plus-minus dipped into the negative. Indiana, on the other hand, has their highest plus-minus of the season. The penalties for both sides last night were not that big of an issue, and although Indiana started off slow with the power plays this season, they finally got one after 25 straight power plays without a goal.
They did get off the schneid, Sam. It was already a blowout when they scored the power play goal, but nonetheless, you love to see it. Coach Weiss finally was able to get his team to score on the power play, and you know they've been talking about it, trying to scheme up different formations and different varieties of passes to use, and finally they were able to get one in.
Well, Bowling Green last season had a penalty kill of under 70%, which is not where you want that number to be. And their power play was lacking as well, just 20%. Whereas the Indiana Hoosiers have really brought it, when it comes to killing off penalties, over 90% when they're shorthanded.
Yeah, and they've had some times this season where they've been shorthanded quite a bit. Some disciplinary issues with certain players at times, but they were pretty clean yesterday for the most part. There was a bit of a brawl over by the net on the far side, but both teams were equally as guilty in that one. So it'll be interesting to see how physical the game is today, and you know Bowling Green's going to be a little upset about the way that they were outplayed yesterday.
Today for the Indiana Hoosiers, we will have a change in net from last night. Instead of Sammy Billis, the normal starter, it will be Jack Thompson in net. And Thompson, with an 0-3-0 record, he's lost 3 straight starts, has a goals allowed of .587, and that save percentage of .818 was not helped by his performance in Michigan State, where he didn't get to play the entire 60 minutes, and Sammy Billis had to come in relief.
Yeah, Thompson's been put in some tough situations this year, and on the Saturday games, he's playing with teammates that aren't as fresh as they were on Friday, especially after road trips as well. So it's going to be nice for Jack to be at home in the Frank today, and Sammy B fared pretty well at home here yesterday, so we'll see how Jack Thompson plays in his first start at the Frank.
Now to the other side of the sheet, the netminder for Bowling Green. You saw him last night in relief. He was out of the bullpen, so to speak, Garrett. It'll be Brown. And Zach Brown, the junior, from Los Alamos, New Mexico, last year had a save percentage of .896, and so far this year, .921.
Yeah, Leo Lapata got the start last night, and then he got taken out after giving up 5 goals, but Zach Brown gave up 5 in relief as well, so both of the Bowling Green goaltenders were getting slaughtered by that Indiana attack yesterday, so you know they had some trouble sleeping last night, especially Brown, knowing that he's going to have to go against the same unit today.
Well, we are just about 3.5 minutes from puck drop. So, Garrett, why don't you give us one key to the game for both sides?
I think the key to the game for Indiana is just going to be to stay out of the box. We saw yesterday how productive they were when they were at full strength, and I've mentioned before that they've had many games this year where they've taken too many penalties, and it's costed them, especially on the Saturday games. But yesterday they were smart, they were disciplined. The game got physical at times, but they didn't let it get to their head, Sam.
Well, in Saturday afternoon games, IU has been outscored 15-3 in the rubber match of the series. And all were with Thompson in the net as the starting netminder. So really looking to right the ship and bail the water out at least to stay above 500.
And it's all about building confidence at this point. Indiana, they were a young team last year, but they got younger this year as well. So it's going to be important for Coach Weiss to get those freshmen experience, know what it's like to play at this level, and that's exactly what he's doing with Thompson here, trying to get him his first win.
Well, the score sheets have finally been submitted, so we've got starting lineups for you.
Yeah, starting in net for Indiana, as we touched on, is going to be Jack Thompson. Manning the blue line for the Hoosiers will be Leo Warner and Henry Whitliff. And up top, we got Gustafson on the left wing, Castracani in center, and Jack Knoll at the right wing position. Then moving on to Bowling Green, their starting lineup will have Zach Brown in net, Trent Gray and Trey Zeeble on the D pairing. And then they have Cole Ferry, Luke Schuler, and Mike Papawanu. Thank you, Sam. I knew you'd bail me out there.
Garrett, it was a tongue twister during the TSCHL tournament last February.
Absolutely. Mike Papawanu rounding out the lineup for Bowling Green.
For the Indiana Hoosiers in his second season at the helm, Andrew Weiss. As we've mentioned plenty of times, Garrett, when he took over in November to the time that Indiana finished up the regionals, Indiana did not lose a game in regulation.
It was a completely different team that we saw when Coach Weiss took over last season, and he's done a great job trying to get this unit together. As we mentioned, Sam, still looking for the first Saturday win, and that's the most challenging part they faced this season.
For Bowling Green, Drew Harper steps up into the head coach position after spending last year as the assistant coach behind Drew Rischel, who spent 4 years with the program before moving on to greener pastures. Under a minute to go before the starting lineups and national anthem get announced over the PA, so we'll take a quick break and get everything set up for you between Bowling Green and the Indiana Hoosiers on the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the Frank Southern Ice Arena on the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network. We are just moments away from the starting lineups getting read off. And a few more things that I feel like ought to be touched on, Garrett. As one of the skaters for Bowling Green said, it's a good problem to have with two top-tier goalies that are starter quality. Brown and Lapata pretty much interchangeable this season.
Yeah, they've done a great job playing off of each other as well. It was a struggle for them last night, but we know that with their talented goaltending minds that they have, they're going to flush yesterday and come into today with a fresh mind.
And with that, we send it to the PA on the ice level with Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network's own Andrew Gus. House lights are on, and the PA has been turned off. The Bowling Green State Falcons at 3-4-0 in their white sweaters from left to right on your radio dial, and the Indiana Hoosiers in their festive black sweaters. It's almost Halloween season, Garrett, skating from right to left. Thompson in between the pipes for Indiana, and on the Bowling Green side of the action, it will be Zach Brown. 20 minutes up on the big board, and the referees are on the ice.
It's really starting to feel like Spooktober, Sam. No free shout-outs for the boys. But, you know, those black unis, they are a little spooky.
They certainly are, Garrett. As we mentioned, head coach Jake Rischel moved on after 4 years with the program, and Drew Harper stepping in. Bowling Green has had a hard time getting out to a hot start, but the games that they have scored first, they've won. 3-0 in games that they get the first tuck. Taking the center ice face-off will be Castricani, and facing Luke Schuler. Schuler missed the vast majority of the back half of last season with a broken wrist, if we're not mistaken, and led the team in points for some time. Twirling around at center ice is Cole Ferry. He fires into the far side corner. Indiana already on their heels as he gets pounced against the glass. Castricani charging in, flicked sideways, muscled off the puck. That's Dennehey. Charging forward is Gustafson. He was on hat-trick watch last night. Moves around a man, gets muscled off the puck, and it's played off a deflection to Leo Warner. Attempts a D-to-D pass, and Goodfellow's throw is deflected again. Castricani scoops it up behind his own trapezoid and moves with some pace. One Bowling Green skater blows a tire, 2-on-1 rush. Fancy move. Castricani goes to the net, bouncing up into the air, and scooped up by Brown as Castricani went for a tumble. 19:06 to go here in period number 1.
Already bodies flying around the ice here early on that last Indiana attack. Gustafson looked like he got his stick tied up there. A nice defensive play by Trey Zeeble, who was putting bodies on people in the game yesterday as well, man in the blue line for Bowling Green.
Face off to the stick side of Brown, controlled by Indiana, but then stolen away quickly. Here come the Falcons on a rush. Indiana on a 3-game winning streak against these Falcons. Last year they swept the series between these two teams. One of those games was a 5-2 victory for the Hoosiers over at the Perry Park in Indianapolis. Garrett, we've talked about it before, 32 feet from the ice to the top of the rafters here at the Frank, and the neutral zone is missing about 15 feet worth of ice that ought to be there. This is really close quarters combat anytime opponents come to Bloomington. And for the Falcons, that's no exception. The Madhouse on Madison, as they call it for Bowling Green. When it's an empty arena for the D2 games, it's cavernous and almost like Mammoth Cave if you've ever been there. And for Indiana here at the Frank, it's almost like a tunnel in Vietnam. Scooped up in their own zone. Here comes Spears on a rush. Already has a few tucks this season. Stands his ground outside the circle. Some hand fighting down low. That's Arana who gets twirled around. Now pushed forward by O'Flaherty. He throws a hip check and then whacks at the puck again before he's dispossessed. Over to Horvath, another one of these returning vets for the Falcons. Entering the zone is Hawkins, a high shot that gets gloved up at eye level, and Brown stops play at 17:44 to go here in period number 1.
Yeah, Sam, you touched on the special qualities of the Frank Southern Ice Arena, and believe it or not, we only had one puck hit the ceiling yesterday. There was an instance where the puck went through the rafters but didn't make contact, so play continued.
You know, talking to Griffin Timmons and some of the other veteran defensemen for Indiana, they've actually practiced trying to get that puck to go through the spaces in the rafters. Imagine trying to hit a ball between the posts over at Wrigley Field. Puck rolls over toward Brown's neck of the woods, and he slams his leather on top of it. So 17.5 to go here in the first, and no score.
That slap shot from Raftis right there went straight into the leg of O'Flaherty, but looks like he's all right.
We mentioned Horvath, a veteran of this team, had 24 points in the regular season last year. Face-off won by Indiana on the far side of the defending zone. Here come the Falcons digging it out. Forced forward and into the far corner it deflects. Hawkins charges in and only manages to hit himself in the hip with the boards. Whacked around, and Trent Gray, one of the alternate captains for the Falcons, cedes possession as the Bowling Green boys get a new set of D-men out. Delayed offsides, and it's caught out of the air. Moving forward is Konstantinos Raftis, younger brother of Socrates Raftis, a former player for this Indiana Hoosiers side. 3 and change have been played here in the first. Still donuts and goose eggs up on the big board between these two TSCHL opponents. Indiana already lost a game to Miami, who was the regular season champion in the T. They did not lose a single game until it came time for T playoffs when Indiana topped him in the championship. Played back in toward Jack Thompson. He scoots out of the blue paint and lets Whitliff sidestep a defenseman. Now forward towards Slavin. He tries to tuck it around the linesman and scoops it up. Weaving around, a little head fake. Shot as he gets blasted into the boards. Now to Warner, who picks up the loose change. Sent into the corner, a big shoulder check. Slavin makes his man take a seat. Played behind the trapezoid. DiLorenzo feeding. A one-timer from Whitliff. Inside the cage. Jam job. And Jeremy can't get his stick onto it. The puck is frozen by Brown, who belly flops the opposite direction and dusts himself off. Plenty of snow on his pants. Just a tick under 16 to go here in the first. And Garrett, now we're starting to see that energy back.
And Sam, that puck was just sitting there like the goose at the NLDS game, and I think that was in San Diego, wasn't it?
I believe it was. And I'm sure we'll have a comment from our statistician and tech expert back here, Goose, on our team. 15 and a half to go. Indiana wins the draw. D'Lo pins it against the yellow. Now to Slavin working. Stick handling in a match box on the near side. Now to Jeremy, who lets Leo Warner work the blue line. Jeremy on a one-timer. Good pass again. Whitliff through traffic. His shot redirects and takes a weird wobble. Another chance in front. DiLorenzo nearly had it from point-blank range. Falcons try to clear the danger, and carrying it out of trouble was Cole Ferry. Zigzagging forward is Leo Warner, a defenseman. Indiana gets a wholesale change, and the the Falcons will look to do the same in just a few moments. Moving forward, that's Schuler. Sidesteps a man. Aiden Goodfellow couldn't hold on, and it's poked away. Null lunging at the puck and pokes it away. That's Zebol on it. Stolen at his own blue line. Goodfellow gets tangled up and dragged away. Zebol has to shovel it free, and a little collision away from the puck. That was Gustafson getting into it with Nitschke. Castracani, a whole lot of speed. Gains the zone, but does not manage to keep the puck with him. Now it's Gray on the puck. Horvath. He gets bundled, and scooping it free in the far corner is Ty Hogan. Hogan has his eyes up in his own end zone. Tries to give it toward Goodfellow. It's played right in front. Dangerous pass. Shot deflects down off of Goodfellow's arm, and back to the trapezoid again. Indiana really on their heels at the moment. Centering pass attempt knocked away, and Null starts the rush as he ends for a change. Gustafson gains the zone, nutmegs one defenseman, and then gets strung around. Into the near side corner it goes. Pushed down onto his knees. Gustafson takes a hit. Hand fighting in the corner and finally yanked free. That's the stick of Zebel doing the action. We've played 5 and change here at the Frank. 0-0 still the score. Slavin and Gustafson trying to make something happen. And a big open ice hit leveled by Brandenburg. Back into the zone. That's Gustafson using his body to shield the puck, but he's muscled away. Now to Brandenburg in the far corner in front of the bench. A blue line snipe from Hawkins misses the target completely. Rushing up to the far side, and then an errant pass going all the way across. That came off the stick of Zebel, and the Falcons will ice the puck with 13 and 26 seconds to go here in period number 1.
And Sam, so far these stick battles have been intense on both sides. So we've seen a lot of slashes trying to get the puck loose, lots of stick lifts early. They're trying to knock everybody off the puck whenever they can.
Shots on goal 6-2 in favor of the hometown Indiana Hoosiers in black and red. Face off on the far circle, the glove side of Brown. After a serious tie-up, finally pulled away. Liberating the puck was Horvath. He dumps it, and Thompson watches it smack off the side of his post. A stretch pass that deflects off of Spears and forces Brown to scramble out of the crease. Chopped at by the right leg of Arana. Centering pass by Spears, bounced off the side of the cage. 13 minutes even to go here in the first. Spears gets sent down to his shin protectors, but then gets on the puck again. Really some dirty work on the near side. Leo Warner goes down onto a knee trying to block the bouncing ground ball, and instead it's scooped away the opposite direction. Here's Wood. He levels a big hit. Now charging in his core. Big save by the shoulder of Thompson, and the puck bounces into the end zone. Moving it forward is Arana. He's got some pace in front of the scorer's table. Now enters the blue zone and has to cede possession as Indiana opts for a change.
As Brandenburg heads to the bench, Sam, I was about to mention he's gotten a couple good licks in.
Now the Falcons get a full set of 5 as well. Indiana does not manage to capitalize on the rush with the lack of skaters on the ice. Here comes Whitliff, centering pass. O'Flaherty couldn't get to it in time, and it bounces in front of the Falcons bench again. Smacked into the rafters, but it missed the banner. And that's just the kind of thing you see from these defensemen, Garrett, that know where those banners and the big metal bars are. Shot in front. Good chance. Another second chance. O'Flaherty down there. And Brown collapses on top of it to stop play at 11:52. Garrett, finally Indiana trying to move the momentum to the other side of the sheet. And the shots on goal now 8-5.
Yeah, Bowling Green's been putting some pressure on here early. They've gotten the puck deep more times than Indiana has so far, and Thompson's been tested a little bit.
Draw won by the Falcons. Out onto the ice. And rushing forward, another big hit. Here comes Bertzlaff. Multi-year captain for the Falcons, returning from last year when he had 30 games played and 24 points. Slavin tries to pin the puck on the far boards, but instead it ricochets to the near side. Zigzagging is Zeeble, who plays it forward where it's shoveled away by Dubendorfer. Falcons another change. A lot of quick changes so far, Garrett. To the near side, centering pass swiped away by Slavin, who then avoids a big hit and finds himself in some open space. Some breathing room now for Indiana as they get a change. Slavin speeds in, kicks it back to his own stick. A shot on, hits a body in traffic. Raftis, right place, right time. His shot scores! A beautiful snipe after a good save, and Indiana draws first blood. Konstantinos Raftis, his first goal in his Indiana hockey career.
And Sam, we've seen Raftis do that a few times this season when he's played. He likes to let him rip from near the blue line, get the puck in deep, and he's able to find the 5-hole right there as he gets that one past Brown.
A second-generation Indiana hockey player, as we mentioned briefly. And Garrett, that's what it's all about, getting a lot of different guys on the score sheet like we saw last night. 6 different goal scorers in last evening's contest for Indiana. And 4 points, 4 assists credited to defensemen. Again, immediately on the rush. Here's Null, his shot right into the body of Brown. He doesn't know where it is. And finally moves his leg around and shakes the puck free to stop the clock. 10:38 to go here in the first, and the score 1-0 in favor of Indiana.
Yeah, right there, Brown didn't know where the puck was, but Harchie saw it just sitting on Brown's pad, and he was able to cover it up and freeze it.
Little discussion as Brown had to fix his helmet, the tools of ignorance, if you will, Garrett. We've seen on a few occasions last season when Indiana goaltenders had to get their straps fixed, and even one situation where a delay of 5 minutes was caused. Falcons on their heels win the draw, and it's played forward. Stolen by Gustafson, top shelf, scores! What a ripper from Jack Gustafson. A crooked number up on the board, and the Indiana Hoosiers strike twice.
And Sam, that's just too easy. An offensive zone giveaway, or defensive zone giveaway, for Bowling Green, and just an easy put in for Gustafson as he let it rip right away from point blank range. Those are the turnovers that'll kill you.
Gustafson had 2 goals last night, and on his career, according to one set of statistics, his 4th goal of the season. A freshman who set numerous scoring records in high school when he was at the Loyola Academy of Chicago. SHL scoring record, and was even a league MVP at one point. Here's Castricani dancing around the outside circle and pokes it to a teammate, but no one was there. Hawkins watches it go under his legs over toward Mark Rudo, who then gets shouldered off the puck by Castricani, streaking back. Now Arana in the right direction. Poke checked away. He dumps it to the backside where Spears follows up on it. Rudo followed him and threw a shoulder at him. Nitschke with the puck. Absorbs a hit and a little bit of a reverse check as Whitliff sidesteps his marker. Chopping at the puck is Horvath as the Falcons try to get it changed. Nitschke looks a little bit worse for wear. Clambering over the boards a little slower than last time. We're past the halfway mark of this first period. 9:25 to go, to be exact. Leo Warner standing his ground at the blue line, keeps the puck in the zone. Onto the near side boards. Spears can't hold on to it, and it's lifted by Dubendorfer at center ice. He pitchforks it across, where it's taken care of by Leo Warner. Another change for the Falcons. Warner moving with some pace through open ice, does a little dance at the blue line, and has to retreat after Spears got a little too excited. Indiana changes, and fresh legs on. After a little deflection and a scoop up into the netting by Jeff Wood of the Falcons, play comes to a grinding halt at 8:49 in the opening frame, and the score 2-0 in favor of these hometown Hoosiers.
And Sam, we saw just how quickly the momentum can change. Bowling Green was putting the pressure on Indiana, but they answered back quickly with 2 goals in what seemed like an instant. Here we go.
Here comes McDonald, a quick shot. Off the rush. Kept in the zone. Goodfellow. His shot bounces between a couple of different legs, and he is able to get his own rebound. Chopped out as he goes spinning into the boards. McDonald shoulders a hit, but can't hold on to the possession, and then smacks his opponent in the face. Played forward, a no-look pass into the corner. McDonald lays chase, and the puck lays in the netting above the ice. So the play will stop with 8:18 to go in the first.
Boy, that was ruthless right there. Tommy knew he was about to get hit, so he decided he would be the one doing the hitting.
No penalties as of yet, which is a good sign. We saw the same number of limited penalties in last night's contest. Only 4 penalties to each team. Hogan gets spun around on the near side in front of us. And another big shoulder check for multiple different sweaters. Pushing forward, here comes Kissel. His shot on, rebound right in front. Backside, scores! A backhander from O'Flaherty. And it's now 3-0 here in the opening frame. Saturday's scaries are gone, Garrett.
O'Flaherty gobbling up the rebound opportunity right there. And Sam, you mentioned the Saturday scaries are looking off to a good start as we're knocking on plastic right now, trying to make sure we don't cause an IU loss. But 3-0, 13 minutes into the game, you can't ask for much more than that. Jack Thompson's not used to playing with a lead either, and now he's got a 3-goal lead.
Second goal of the season for O'Flaherty and his 9th career goal as an Indiana Hoosier. He missed a lot of time in the back half of last season in the run-up toward Nationals with a broken wrist, but he was a big factor in the first 15 or so games of the season. Offside blown, and we are a quarter of a minute under the 8-minute mark here in the first. And Garrett, the tunes are back over the PA.
Yeah, we were missing them yesterday. Vibes are immaculate.
Face off in the neutral zone on our side of the action. Jeremy and Schuler whacking away at it, but the Falcons managed to secure possession. Punched forward by Harty, and it wobbles into the near side corner where the Falcons go on the attack. Raftis swings his stick wildly at it, but it's played to the blue line. Stood up by Harty again. Chipped off the glass, and DiLorenzo circles around. Played toward Jeremy, who absorbs a hit and has to cede possession off to Hawkins. Now to DiLorenzo, 2-on-2 rush. 2-man weave. D'Lo surveys his options and lets Slavin take over. Now played into the middle, D'Lo reaching for it. Tries to pop it in front of the cage. Deflection, Jeremy throws it right into the chest protector of Brown, and the clock will stop at just 4 ticks over 7 to go.
DiLorenzo and Brown getting into it a little bit after that play. Brown didn't like D'Lo trying to see if he had the puck. And as Jack Hawkins heads to the bench, he had a pretty good block on that last sequence as Bowling Green was trying to put some pressure on Thompson there, but Hawkins didn't even let the puck reach him.
Draw one on the near side by the Falcons. They will toil a bullet to themselves, but instead it's Gustafson who sidesteps and moves into play. Punched off the boards, and Whitliff knocks it forward toward Null. Under his stick blade, Whitliff gets turned around and now has to go to work with some stick holds against Ferry. Big toe drag, and it wobbles across the blue line. Whitliff plays it forward as Null was on a change. Here comes Null. His shot high into the glove, but it won't matter as the linesman saw offside, and play will stop at 6.5. 3-0 still the score. Gustafson getting a goal. O'Flaherty getting a goal. And Raftis with a snipe of a goal as well. Draw in front of the Falcons bench, controlled by the visitors in white sweaters. Slap pass right across the width of the neutral zone and smacks into the netting in front of us. So Garrett will put the horses in the chute and do it all over.
With 6:19 to go in the period here. Little Rey Mysterio flashback. I don't know why I was thinking about that, but it's the first thing that came to mind.
Well, if there's 17:38 left in the frame, I'll let you do the honors next time. Indiana controls it. That's Spears in his own end zone. Flings it back through the trapezoid to Warner on the far side. Wraps it against the wood, and Spears chasing it down with Offenbach. He has trouble staying on his skates in his first shift so far. Warner walks the blue line, feeds it over to the backside. Whitliff a shot, punched up into the air. No, he scores! Brown tried to make the blocker save, but it's Whitliff who makes it 4-0. Indiana taking control handily in the second game of this series.
And Sam, right there, Offenbach was trying to set the goalie screen out front, being a pest, and he was really getting under the skin right there of Trey Zeeble and ended up whacking Offenbach's stick high into the air, almost hit the ceiling. And right there, the screen pays off.
So Indiana now fully entrenched in the lead as the whistle blows again to stop play with 5 3/4 to go. It's got to be a morale boost for everybody on the Indiana side, Garrett, to know that it's not going to be same old, and they're not coming out flat-footed this time.
No question about that. We haven't seen a Saturday like this all year, and the players definitely enjoying it.
Weird to think about, Garrett. We're already 7 or 8 games into this season for Indiana, depending on if you count tonight, this afternoon. They have not won 2 games in a row since regionals last year. They have a prime opportunity to do so after a big-time win last night. Spears goes down and spins around on his kneecaps. Offenbach flutters it free, centering pass to Spears right into the Bowling Green Falcon logo on Brown's chest. And he looks to plead his case, a little bit upset. And shots on goal now, 15-5 for Indiana. That's 10 straight shots, Garrett.
Yeah, Spears had the right idea right there as well with the spinning wrister. We saw a couple of those go in yesterday, so you just got to try to catch them off guard whenever you can.
The draw won by Indiana. Wobbler of a shot after redirecting past the stick blade. And the whistle blows for a high stick with 5:04 to go in the first. We'll see our first power play for the Falcons. Ty Hogan looks to be the man guilty of the misdemeanor, Garrett, and he'll sit for a 2-piece.
We talked about the Indiana PK in the pregame, Sam, and they're going to be tested here trying to boost that percentage a little bit. The power play percentage could still use some work if you're Indiana, but the penalty kill has been exceptional.
Indiana's power play up to 90.9%, and if you wanted to round up to 91%, I'm not going to stop you. 5:04 to go, Indiana on their heels and down a man. They have 3 shorthanded goals this season, though, Garrett, which is definitely an optimistic situation to consider. Fed to the backside, right off the stick, deflecting. And pushed forward where Gustafson ships it all the way down the river.
If that pass was controlled, that could have been bad news for Indiana right there, wide open in the slot.
Falcons trying to get an offense set up, but instead it's Raftis lowering the boom. And Offenbach, again, doing yeoman's work to send it the width of the sheet. Falcons get a change. Indiana still have the same killers onto the ice. 4:20 to go here in period number 1. 4-0 the score. Falcons gain the zone legally and try to dump and chase. Raftis flings it along the windowsill, and it bounces back in his direction. Into the corner where it's yanked away by Ferry. Now fluttered free and played to the far point to Zeeble. Thinks about it, holds onto a shot, and plays it back down to the side. Over toward Gray in the near side point. Zeeble working that blue line, being harassed by Arana. And back toward Gray outside the hash mark. Centering pass, pushed away by Raftis, and he swings a shot all the way across the ice. So just 35 seconds left in this 2-minute minor that Indiana has killed off properly so far. 3.5 minutes to go. Indiana up by 4. Loose puck, pulled away. Here comes Tigges. Tiggs pass, flutters away toward Horvath outside the hash marks. Works the circumference, fed to the backside. Thompson gets stepped on. Puck is still loose, and finally it's blown dead after bodies pile up and arms are twisting in every which way. Spears is tangled up with his man, Mark Rudo, down low. Play blown dead at 3 1/4 to go in the first, and Thompson had a leg of a Bowling Green skater in between his arm and his leg.
Yeah, that looked like a mad scramble as the puck was sitting loose, but Thompson able to draw a whistle after all that contact.
So 12 seconds left on this power play for the Falcons, and we talked about their power play earlier. They gave up a very quick shorthanded goal against Miami. Played in front after the faceoff and chucked forward where this penalty will elapse. Even strength. And Indiana moves over the 91% barrier, Garrett. DiLorenzo chasing the puck down, leaves it for Slavin, who pins it against the boards. All the scratches for Bowling Green, watching with their eyes glued to the glass. DiLorenzo yanks away, trying to jam at the puck, but it's poked free. Now to Schuler with some speed over to Horvath. His pass goes over to Slavin, who then loses an edge. Whitliff turns tail and circles back around. Indiana will circle the wagons as they move from killers to a 5-side. Now to Jeremy, zigzagging across before it's poke checked away. Schutte dumps it, tries to get it himself, but instead it gets roulette wheeled to DiLorenzo. Tries to throw a stretch pass, and he barely glances it off the rafters. He thought he had his man on a Hail Mary pass.
It looked like he might have tried to thread the needle right there and came up just a bit short. A matter of inches, and that puck might get through.
We've seen him do it before where they throw a post route or a go route in football, if you will, Garrett, and they've hit their man on those times. So instead, a face-off to the glove side of Thompson, where Indiana manages to hold on. Played between Hawkins and Kissel on the far side, where an errant pass results in Falcons possession once again. Thompson watches it slide past him and stops it up for Hawkins. Hawkins plays it forward right past the stick of McDonald, who then has to lay chase before Offenbach lays a shoulder forward. Moving forward, Dubendorf for a shot. Goes right into the right pillow of Jack Thompson, and he's able to collapse on top of the puck with 1:40 to go in the first period. Indiana up 4-0 after successfully killing off that penalty, Garrett, and Ty Hogan not going to be the guy at fault for the first goal tonight.
Indiana's just been playing stellar on both ends thus far as they win the draw in their own zone there as well.
Only downside so far for Indiana's play is they are behind in the face-off battle. Puck flung all the way across. A 3-line pass that will result in an icing, so we're under 90 seconds to go here in the first. When we break for intermission, we'll have an interview on the ice with Kelsey Dennehey, who will try to pull Ethan DiLorenzo if possible. Face-off on the near side, won by Indiana yet again, controlling their own house. Hawkins gets slammed into the glass, and two different Falcon skaters go spiraling. Castracani weaves through. A shot from Null. Worm burner that hits the backboards and played forward. Now by himself, centering pass. Chaos in front, plenty of snow obstructing the view. 69 seconds to go. Here comes Gustafson on a rush. Already has one. Thinks about it, toe drag. Backhander, centering pass, almost by Castracani. A delayed penalty as well. Under a minute to go, and the whistle finally blown with 52 seconds to go. So Indiana will receive help from the officials, and that'll be a hooking penalty on the Falcons that if it doesn't get commuted in the next 52 seconds, will carry over to the second frame.
We'll be good until intermission.
So that 2-minute misdemeanor will be on Cole Ferry, the junior. Whitliff works the blue line. Back to Jeremy outside the circle. Shot through traffic off a leg pad. Second chance effort scooped away skillfully by Nitschke. Now to Kissel, who can't hold on to it, and Thompson has to play it as the sixth man. Shielding the puck away, letting his man do the work. There's Jeremy quarterbacking this offense. Pass over toward McDonald. His shot smacks just past the disco ball and up into the ceiling with 21.9 up on the clock. 4-0 on the big board.
The power play has looked much improved over these past couple games, Sam. We're seeing them get a lot more shots on goal, something that they struggled with at the beginning. Simply, they just weren't even getting any shots during the power play, and now they've moved the puck around a lot better, and they're just letting it fly.
Whistle blown as Indiana didn't have all their skaters off the sheet in time, and now the referee has found issue with the clock.
A few seconds ran off there after the whistle. It should be at about 18.
Well, Bowling Green is no stranger to struggling in the first period. When they played Miami in game one, they gave up 3 goals in the first period, and one of the members of the Bowling Green broadcast said it was a brutal first. They even said that a second time, Garrett. Indiana wins the draw, still with an extra skater out there. 5-on-4 power play. 15 seconds to go. Warner throws a shot that smacks the toe of the skate. That was the foot of Cam Horvath. 5 seconds to go. Big collision. Warner plays it to the backside to DiLorenzo. He tries to thread a shot through. Castracani lurches forward, and the clock sounds to end the first frame with Indiana a fistful of control on this first period. 4-0 the score.
You really got to like what you saw from that first, Sam, and Indiana and these black jerseys have been a totally different team than what we've seen all year. They're up 4-0 on a Saturday, something that hasn't happened yet, and the offense has just looked extremely productive on both facets.
Well, we will take a quick break before we give you the stats and summary of this first frame, as well as the intermission show and an interview on the ice with Kelsey Dennehey. But for Garrett Drake and the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network, I'm Sam Weixler. I'll see you in the third. 4-0, Indiana leads. Welcome back to the Frank Southern Ice Arena. Now standing alongside Kelsey Dennehey is Jack Gustafson.
I am here with rookie Jack Gustafson, who already has a goal in the Hoosiers' 4-0 lead today after the first period, and who also had 2 goals and an assist in their matchup against the Bowling Green State Falcons last night. Jack, can you talk about how you prepare for these games and what's going through your head when you're making these plays? Don't mind the Zamboni.
So before the game, we're pretty just locked in. Today we were focused on getting our first Saturday win, which so far it's looking so good. Hopefully we can keep it up. And I'm just really thinking about trying to make a play, do something to help the team out.
Absolutely, and going into the second and third period where, things can change, tempo can change, what are you looking your biggest goal going into the second and third?
Start playing more physical for me and the team to keep up their physicality. Just wear the D out. Their D aren't that good, so if we wear them out, we'll keep scoring.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network. This is Jack Gustafson, and I'm Kelsey Dennehey. We'll see you in the second.
And welcome back to the Frank Southern Ice Arena for the Saturday matinee matchup between the Bowling Green State Falcons and your Indiana Hoosiers. I'm Garrett Drake alongside Kelsey Dennehey. Indiana scoring 4 goals in the first period, something that we haven't seen on a Saturday in quite some time. And Kelsey, just looking over the numbers, Indiana had 15 shots on goal compared to just 8 for Bowling Green. Almost doubled them up with opportunities there. They're also leading the hits 14-11 right now, so we have seen some physical play thus far. But so far, Indiana has the slight edge in that department, and face-offs dead even at 11 apiece.
Hey, I mean, this is a completely different Saturday afternoon team than we've seen thus far for Indiana. And after talking to Jack Gustafson in between the periods, you know, that was a big, big conversation point for the team coming into the game today, is just looking to get that good start. And so, like you said with those numbers, it's looking pretty good. And honestly, faceoffs are a little bit surprising just because last night Indiana had them completely dominated in faceoffs. But it's good looks for them to be able to take over on those faceoffs that they did lose and regroup and get back at it, especially with those 4 goals.
Bowling Green taking the ice right now. Indiana has yet to emerge from the locker room, and just as I say that, here they come.
Looking good in the black jerseys.
Looking for their first series sweep of the season and first winning streak since regionals last year. They'll have 1 minute and 9 seconds remaining on the power play after scoring their first power play goal of the season yesterday. They now stand at 1 for 26, I believe is what the number we settled on.
Yep. And while I was talking with Andrew Gus in pregame about how that might be a tricky number to look at, but once you get started, once you're finally able to get the ball rolling, it's definitely a lot easier to catch up. And we saw it happen with them last year too. Their power play wasn't great. It struggled for a little while at the beginning of the season, and once they started rolling, they were off and running. Absolutely,
and when the percentage is that low, every time you get one, it's going to jump quite a bit.
Right.
They went from 0 to whatever 1/26th is yesterday, so already a lot better.
Absolutely.
Didn't really, my brain's too exhausted to do that math, but
yeah, it would be a really small decimal point. I don't think I could do it.
It's under 4%, because 1 at 1/25th would be 4%.
This is why we're not math majors, Garrett.
3.8 maybe, somewhere in that area. Somebody fact check me. Oh, dangerous play there as Thompson had to get that puck out of harm's way. His D-man fumbled it. McDonald slipping on the wet ice that they just went over, and now it's going to be a breakaway here. Working in is Nitschke. He shoots one and saved by Thompson. Chase Nitschke had a breakaway, but Thompson stopped him.
Great back check by Will Jeremy there. You could tell he was really working to get back, and while he didn't quite make it in time, you know, that's the effort that they're looking to see from their centers, stepping up in the defensive zone, and it's something that they've been missing quite a bit, especially in these Saturday matchups.
Jeremy loses the draw in the neutral zone, but Bowling Green just has to dump the puck in where it's played by Thompson and left off for Henry Whitliff. Now Jeremy zooming through the zone as he normally does. Gets through a couple defenders, but then he's cut off, and Whitliff controls at the blue line. Jeremy sends one on out front that nearly got tapped in by Kissel, but Bowling Green able to clear, and that'll do it for the man advantage here as there's just 9 seconds left on the power play.
You have to give yourself some grace when saying Bowling Green State Falcons, because it definitely is a mouthful.
It is, no question. McDonald puts on the brakes. Dumps it off. Spears plays one right back to McDonald. Centering pass, Kissel nearly got a stick on that, and it's going to roll all the way down to avoid an icing as Thompson is forced to play it. Tickets tried kicking that puck forward, and it ends up finding the stick of Matt Spears. Cross ice pass. Shot on goal sent on by Hogan that got blocked out in front. Now a scrum for the puck, sees the Falcons come away with it. Tigas. Centering pass gets blocked, and now Bowling Green has to retreat. Around the net they go and into the near corner. Tigas sends one on that gets blocked out in front and kicked away. Couple opportunities here for the Falcons. They're putting some pressure on Thompson, but the D-men have done a good job blocking the shots as well. It was Goodfellow and Hogan getting down deep there. And finally, Hogan able to control for Indiana, but he gives it right up. 17:15 to go in the second period. No score in this frame yet, after an action-packed first. Spears puts on the brakes. And finally, Indiana able to break the neutral zone as Arana dumps that puck in so they can finally get the change they've been needing. That group was out there for a long time.
When you're desperate for a change, it starts to get dangerous when you go back and forth so many times.
Graftis plays one off to Hawkins. They play pitch and catch with Knoll, and now Gustafson has the puck. There's 3 jacks on the ice right now for Indiana. Gustafson, Knoll, and now there's 4 actually, counting Thompson and Hawkins as well.
Yep. When I went and asked for an interview, I had the question, which jack? I was like, oh, sorry guys, my bad.
4 on the ice, as it looks like Gustafson is heading to the bench now to bring the count down to 3. Knoll going to the bench as well.
We've got a Hoosier in the box.
And it looks like it's going to be Gustafson who took the penalty there. Nope, it's Hawkins, never mind.
Hawkins for a trip, which is odd because the sequence was Bowling Green tripped first, he fell and tripped the other guy, but, you know.
So the Indiana penalty kill back at it again. They're 100% successful so far today as that puck goes high into the netting off the stick of Brown.
The penalty kill has been something that has been one sequence of consistency for the Hoosiers this season. They've got it down pat, which is a little ironic thinking about how they've struggled in the defensive zone, on those Saturday afternoons, but never on the penalty kill, and we'll see if that stays the same just now.
Centering pass out front, and Brown sprawls out on the attempt by Offenbach, and he's able to make the save.
That was a close one, though. Offenbach had it on the top of his pad, and
Indiana trailing in the shots on goal department right now, 3-1. Hits are even at 2, and Indiana with the edge in faceoffs at 3-1.
And those faceoffs are where it's going to come in really important when you're down in shots, because if you're able to maintain possession right away, it's a lot easier to keep it throughout the play.
Whitliff tried taking the legs out from the defender right there, and he was able to get past. Shot sent on that goes high over the crossbar from the stick of Mark Rudo, the D-man for Bowling Green. Rudo keeps the zone. Now dumps in. Indiana able to clear. A nice play by Offenbach. As they get a fresh killer unit on the ice. 15-17 remaining in period number 2 from the Frank Southern Ice Arena in Bloomington. Centering pass gets blocked away, and coming away with it is Slavin. Is going to be a breakaway. In on Brown. He scores! Luke Slavin puts it over the shoulder of Brown, and Indiana goes up 5-0. It's another short-handed goal for the Hoosiers.
We've seen a couple of those this season, and we were talking about it yesterday, Andrew, Gus, and I, during the second period, how important it is to have that aggressive penalty kill for opportunities like that, because sometimes they do come along, and we've seen a couple of them this weekend already, and it pays off when you're able to jump the gun and get up on those opportunities.
Luke Slavin gets the 4th shorty of the season for the Indiana penalty kill right there, and it's just crazy to think about the fact that they have more shorthanded goals than power play goals times 4.
Something in the air, I guess. I don't know.
They love killing penalties is one thing.
I can't blame them. Penalty killing is fun.
Working his way around, Zeeble dumps one off. Here's a shot sent on off the shoulder of Thompson by Ferry, and they exit the zone. Knoll nearly got free there, and a bouncing puck gets grabbed out of the air by Zach Brown with 14:24 remaining and 6 seconds left on the Hawkins penalty.
We've seen some great on-ice presence from Jack Knoll these past couple of games. I mean, every time he steps out on the ice, he makes it known that he's there and ready to make a play, and that's really all you can ask for a player right now.
It looks like for a second they might be able to get 2 shorties on 1 kill. That would be a heck of a story for the post-game report.
You're not kidding.
Face-off goes bouncing high into the air, and it's taken behind the net by Zeeble. Indiana back to even strength as Hawkins heads to the bench. See, there's too many Jacks, so keep getting them mixed up now. O'Flaherty over to McDonald. Centering pass gets blocked away by Brown as they got a little too deep on that one. McDonald waiting for some reinforcements. He gains the zone. Tommy shoots one right into the stomach of Brown, and we get a stoppage. Another thing about looking at the players last year, Tommy was the only one who had the clear visor, but now a couple other players have it, as well as both of the Jacks, Hawkins and Gustafson as well.
Yeah, I mean, the fishbowl is not common these days, but gotta say, these guys rock it. They do a good job with it.
DiLorenzo went for the grab on that puck that went high into the sky, and it's going to be an icing against Bowling Green.
It's weird to see Bowling Green really struggling in their defensive zone, because their past few games before this weekend, they've been pretty strong and kind of given their edge, but we haven't seen too much of it this weekend.
Bowling Green able to win the faceoff in their own zone, and now they're on the attack. Goodfellow puts an end to that and plays one off the backboards to Hogan. Cross ice pass from Goody gets intercepted, and now working his way in is going to be Dubendorfer. Jeremy racing back the other way. He's got D'Lo with him. He leaves it off for Offenbach. Offie shoots one high off of Brown. Loose puck, but gets knocked out of there. And now Dubendorfer coming back the other way.
Such a good idea by those three, who's just missing a little spacing.
Indiana erupting for 8 shots so far this period. We're only 8 minutes in. Bowling Green with 4. Hits have evened out at 4 apiece, and the faceoffs starting to even out a bit as well. Each team with 4 faceoff wins, and they split 11-11 in the first.
It's great to see Indiana finally gaining some comfort in their first and second period in Saturdays. The past couple of weekends, we've seen a more rigid start, a little bit on edge, and definitely noticed that they've been able to calm down and just do what they know they can.
Brandenburg wins the draw, and Raftis dumps that one over. Again, the puck finds Konstantinos Raftis, and he leaves one off. Pass that makes it through the rafters, but it's going to be offsides if Arana would have touched that puck, so he goes back. That was a nice dump in by Spears right there, as we talked about sometimes trying to thread the needle, making it through the rafters without hitting iron.
Seriously, it's a difficult task. I mean, I think they kind of have to practice it because they're pretty low. Some of these guys could probably jump up there and catch it if they wanted to, but I wouldn't recommend.
Spears gains the zone, but then loses possession. Somehow it almost found him again. Centering pass from Arana, but nobody was there. Spears getting tangled up with a defender, and now the puck goes all the way around to the far side. Centering pass finds Arana, backhand goes wide. Brown didn't have to make a save on that one. And the puck bounces out of play. Nearly halfway through period number 2 here, Indiana has added 1 goal to their total so far in this frame. They lead 5-0.
I know we looked into it a little bit before the game, but it'll be interesting to see how long it takes for Bowling Green to switch out their goaltenders, and if they even decide to today, because they did about halfway through the game yesterday and still ended up with the same outcome in goals-wise.
Warner lays a big hit on Nitschke right there as he hits the deck, and Whitliff able to stop that Bowling Green rush. Castracani working through the neutral zone. Left to right, he breaks free. Then loses possession. Cross ice pass, they find Nitschke, and Nitschke scores. Chase Nitschke on the one-time opportunity. It was a beautiful feed from Cole Ferry, and they go 1-2 to make it 5-1.
Cuts the deficit just a little bit for the Falcons, and you could see there they were just one step ahead of Indiana, and that's where we look at those turnovers in the offensive zone, that they don't have as much time to regroup and they struggle a little bit, and that one was a perfect example of that.
Chase Nitschke, that's goal number 4 on the season. He scored yesterday as well. Goodfellow leaves one for O'Flaherty. Now Kissel racing in. That one gets blocked out in front. A nice play by Gray to get a skate on it. Nitschke has that one deflected up high. That was actually Zeeble, number 5 for the Falcons. And getting put to the deck by Goodfellow right there was Horvath. A vicious hit from number 6 in black. Kissel has to retreat as McDonald crept offside on the play. That puck goes right off of the ref, and he's not too happy about that. Sometimes they're just in the wrong spot, and it's not going to feel good considering how cold it is in the Frank either.
Can't really win when you're pressed up against the boards in the middle of the play.
McDonald moving left to right. Now he backhands one in behind the net to be played by Kissel, but Bowling Green takes it away. Dubendorfer centers one that just missed Nelson. Now working his way in is Luke Coeur. And we get a whistle with 9:46 to go. 5-1 Hoosiers.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in the second half of the second period. I mean, this could be a big turning point for the Falcons in terms of getting an edge and getting able to get more pucks on net. Or it could just crank the Hoosiers up more and they could just end up putting more pucks behind Bowling Green.
9.5 minutes to play. Offenbach tried leaving one off for DiLorenzo as he breaks in. Centering pass gets knocked away at the last second. A nice defensive play by the Falcons right there. Indiana continuing to play aggressively. And there's a scrum in the near corner, as a few players from both sides get in there. We haven't seen much movement yet. Jake Shute looks like he's trying to dig a hole back there with the way he's shoveling his stick.
I mean, with these boards, he might be able to.
Whitliff on the dump-in attempt, it gets deflected, so Indiana has to go back and chase it. Now behind the net, they play one around to be taken by Jeremy. Jeremy swoops around, wraparound attempt. Puck is still loose, and they score! It looks like it's going to be Arana who may have tapped it in. And now we got a fight after the play as well.
DiLorenzo gets a cross-check to the head. Interesting way to celebrate a goal.
We'll see who goes through the line.
Looks like 1-3 is gone for that one.
And Jeremy is going to claim this one.
Hard to tell if he shot that from the top of the circle or if it got poked in by DiLorenzo in the corner over there. But DiLorenzo is heading to the box happily with another point on the board.
So Indiana now up 6-1. And they'll be up a man as well.
Looks like we're just skating a little 4-on-4 action for a couple minutes, which is always nice.
Yeah, I was going to say they had 2 penalties on the board, but Indiana still had 5 players on the ice. Trying to pull a fast one. So 4-on-4 hockey territory where Indiana enjoys being in as well, as they were successful on the 4-on-4 last year. Really allowed them to space out more. As a big hit laid on right there. Hogan sent his man flying. Castricani has that one knocked away. Hogan unable to keep it in. And a breakaway opportunity for Bowling Green here. Slap shot, big hit by Castricani. And he sends that puck wide. Ferry felt the brunt of Hogan and Castricani right there. Shot goes wide off the stick of Horvath. And we're already a minute through the 4-on-4. Kind of a stalemate from both teams, just trying to get deep, but so far unsuccessful. O'Flaherty sends one in. McDonald shoots it right into the pad of Brown right there. It looks like he might have had some real estate. And right there, it looked like Zeeble was grabbing a hold of O'Flaherty's stick, but
Zeeble had a tight grip on that stick. It looked like when they did around the holidays when you do like the Santa Claus drills where you hold on to your teammate's stick and they pull you across the ice. That's what it looked like. But he was still able to get a shot off, so good on him, I guess.
And it looks like Zeeble might have gotten a bit of a warning as well as he headed to the bench from the officials saying, yeah, we saw that. Shot blocked out in front. Nice play by Hawkins. And O'Flaherty tried to go between the legs with the pass, and now Hawkins has it. Hawkins plays one back. McDonald gets his stick lifted before he can get the shot off. And now coming the other way for the Falcons is Colin Nelson. All the way across ice they go. Shot right into the glove of Thompson.
We've seen a new comfort and confidence in Thompson today that we haven't quite seen yet on these past Saturdays. And he has started every single Saturday game this season. And, kind of like the rest of the team, it started off a little rocky every other time. But today he just came out. He looked calm, cool, collected, and it's shown in his play.
9 seconds left on the 4-on-4, and that's most likely going to get us back to full strength on both sides here. Centering pass finds Brandenburg as both players out of the box. DiLorenzo tried creeping in the back door, but he got shut off. Now working the other way, Nelson. Centering pass, they shoot. That one goes wide off the stick of Trent Gray as we're down to 5:45 remaining in the second. We got a delayed call here as well. Indiana going to go back to the man advantage.
We'll see if they can get their power play together again to kind of shake up their percentage a little bit more. And, they have the time, they have the lead, and so this would be a great opportunity for them to really try and settle things down and set up some plays down low.
And it's going to be, it looked like it was number 8.
Looks like they've got a little school line to get into the box, but.
Well, I don't have an 8 on my roster, so. Who knows who it is?
Whoever it is.
Drop it in the comments.
Yeah, seriously, but he's sitting, and Bowling Green's got 4.
Unless it's number, oh no, actually, I think it's number 9, Jake Shoot. We'll go with that.
Sure.
So Indiana back to the power play here. Jeremy has that shot blocked, and holding the zone is Whitliff. And they score again as Kissel gobbles up the rebound opportunity. Jeremy sent one in from the far corner, and it was right there to be tapped in by Jack Kissel. 7-1 now.
Great play by the both of them. I mean, a lot of patience going on there, and you could tell they were really taking their time. Jeremy waited that extra second to give the puck on net, and he kept it low. Huge, and Kissel was right where he needed to be and poke it home. Great.
So Indiana, as you mentioned, adding to their lead here. And they have 2 power play goals in this series after 0 all season. Spears plays one over to Brandenburg, swooping into the zone. We got another delayed call here. Actually, that was just an icing. Whitliff banks one over to Arana. 4.5 minutes to play here in frame number 2. Arana centers one, but again, nobody was there as Ferry sends the action the other way. Now swooping into the zone goes Ferry. He sends one on right in the glove of Thompson.
That was almost like a slow motion play. Everybody was confused with the offsides call and then kind of just snuck in there, but Thompson was ready to go.
And right there, Leo Warner and Jeff Wood getting into it after the play, and they're both going to go to the box. They kept slashing each other, and the officials had enough.
Hard to tell really where they're heading with this one.
Looks like it's going to be 4-on-4.
Right now, the scoreboard's telling us Indiana's on a huge power play, but
yeah,
it's not looking so on the ice. So
they still had the penalty up from the power play goal that the Hoosiers scored.
the refs are giving them a little debrief over there. Hard to tell what they're calling them for, though, since they can't really give us the hand signals, but we'll give our best guess.
We asked for it, but we haven't received. They did call a high stick on that one.
Hey, exactly.
We got that.
Put it into the universe.
Yep.
Maybe it'll come true.
Indiana wins the face-off, and they move left to right. That pass eludes everybody and goes all the way to the other end. And that pass goes high and out of play into the penalty box, where it's fielded right there by Wood.
Definitely haven't seen as many big penalties go up on the board this game rather than last. There was a big scrum going on in the second period where Tommy McDonald ended up with his helmet off, and we haven't seen that just yet. So we'll see if that is where we're headed or if it's going to start to calm down after this.
DiLorenzo, there was a rebound opportunity momentarily. D'Lo creeping into the crease, but it's grabbed by Brown. 3:32 to go.
DiLorenzo is hungry for those goals. We've seen it the past couple of games, but especially tonight and last night. He is always either in front of the net or ready to make the play to get it to the net. And it's been a huge contribution for the Hoosiers, especially last night and tonight.
Indiana already up to 17 shots on goal in the period, just 11 for Bowling Green. Hits are looking like 12-9 in favor of the Hoosiers, and faceoffs still dead even.
We were talking yesterday about we haven't seen too many stoppages because of hitting the ceiling or hitting the little gates up, but we've had quite a few of them today, so I guess it makes up for it.
Hawkins dumps that one in. And Offenbach nearly able to steal it. He goes for the backhand, but it gets knocked away. Now the Falcons will slow things down. Thompson leaves it off for Hawkins. Now DiLorenzo trying to set something up. Raftis sends another one on that goes high over the crossbar. One thing we know about Konstantinos Raftis is he likes to let it fly.
Can't complain about that either, especially when pucks are getting on net.
Raftis lays a big hit near the Indiana bench right there. Now Hawkins gets that one blocked out front, but it finds Raftis. A couple deflections out front, and it swiggles wide. 2:15 remaining in the period. And that puck nearly found its way in as it just kind of slowly rolled past everybody, but Brown was able to cover.
That's the best part of the Frank Southern is the ice. It's either really slick or it's really slow, and that moment the puck was getting a lot of traction.
Whitliff, that one hit a couple sticks on its way to the net and went wide. Warner gets another one deflected. Kissel sends one on, and a nice blocker stop made by Brown. O'Flaherty. And this is going to be a penalty on O'Flaherty here. The team leader in penalty minutes.
Did we ever think that we were going to say that, Garrett?
Not with Tommy McDonald on the team, but he really turned it around.
O'Flaherty came back in fashion. He was injured quite a bit of last season, and so we didn't really see him play too much due to his injuries, but he came back full force and wanted to let everyone know that he is here to play.
So Bowling Green with a power play for the remainder of the period if they are unable to score. 1:43 is on the clock. 2 minutes on the penalty. A shot sent on that goes behind by Trey Zeeble. And they lose the zone. Zeeble leaves one off for Gray. They play pitch and catch with Nitschke. Ferry trying to dangle through Whitliff, but he couldn't get by. 1:15 remaining. Now working their way in, shot saved by Thompson. That one looked like it got him up high. Cross ice pass gets blocked out in front. And Indiana is able to clear the zone. Chasing after it is Brandenburg. And he whiffs on the shot attempt on a bouncing puck. They center it in, score! A shorty for Castricani. Their second of the game, and it's 8-1 Indiana. Again, that was another puck that just found its way right to the front of the net, and he tapped it in.
Hey, right place, right time. That's all you can ask, and he was ready to go. That is his third point on the weekend, I believe. So
he's been on fire, no question. I believe he picked up an assist yesterday as well.
yeah, so probably 4 then. Him and Jack Gustafson have been battling for the top of their lineup for sure. Which we're still seeing some lineup changes, so he's not out there right now for 5 on 4, excuse me. But we see a little friendly competition between the two.
2 more shorties today for this Indiana penalty kill. Just an unbelievable display.
This is the Indiana team we are used to seeing.
Final 35 seconds of play here in period number 2. Nelson tries to find somebody, and they keep the play onside. Schuler has that one broken up by Castricani. And they give it away. Here's a shot sent on. Thompson able to gobble up the rebound with the glove.
Great grab by Thompson. Even though Indiana is up by a pretty significant amount, it's still good to have those saves and to know that he's going to be there to pick up those awkward bobbles.
14 and 2/10 seconds remaining in period number 2. Then we'll have 20 more minutes for Indiana to try to break their Saturday losing streak.
And so far, it's looking pretty likely.
That one hits a man up high. That was Horvath, and he's limping to the bench, and we've got another collision out in front.
Looking like Jack Hawkins down.
He got hit hard.
He did, and Raftis came to his defense right away.
Hawkins able to get up as he will skate to the bench.
A lot of chirping going on over here. A lot of frustration that the refs seem to have missed that play. Completely in front of the net.
Luke Schuler is now in the box for Bowling Green.
Schuler's a big contributor for them. I mean, even losing him for a few minutes is definitely something they don't want to do, but
he missed a lot of time towards the end of the season last year due to injury, and the Falcons were all excited to get him back for a full season. And he finds himself in the box now.
for a major, too, 5 minutes. Looks like the refs didn't totally miss it. Good thing, too, because that was a bad hit, but the Hoosiers will go into the third period with quite a bit of time on the power play. They have about 20 seconds left on their penalty, so it should be around 4 minutes of man-up advantage for them to hopefully poke a couple more home.
And that'll do it for period number 2. Indiana leading 8-1. The scoreboard still reads 7 here at the Frank, but they just haven't put it up yet. So Indiana with a 7-goal lead, and Kelsey, really you can't ask for much more than that.
No, this is the Indiana team, like I said before, that we are used to seeing. And so it is nice to have them back and really cruising through these Saturday games where they haven't been the past couple weeks. And you can tell that their chemistry has improved and that they're really getting into it and working all together.
Absolutely. Kelsey and Goose will have the intermission report in just a moment, so don't go anywhere. You've been watching Indiana Hockey on the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network.
Died.
Died.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
good interview anyways.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
40 minutes are in the books, and plenty of goals are on the score sheet. Good afternoon, and welcome back to the Frank Southern Ice Arena for Period 3 between the visiting Bowling Green Falcons and the Indiana Hoosiers. I'm Sam Weixler alongside Garrett Drake. And Garrett, this one turned into a rout in that middle frame.
Yeah, Indiana really able to pull away. They lead 8-1 right now, Sam, as you mentioned, and the offense just continuing to erupt this weekend. They're now up to 18 goals in the past 2 days, and you'd love to see them get to double digits in back-to-back games if they can score a couple more.
Well, Indiana finally getting off the schneid, as you like to say, Garrett. And back onto the ice after a bit of a scuffle ensued. And during the intermission, it looked like Tommy McDonald was talking at length with the officiating crew as well as Jack Kissel.
Yeah, it has been getting chippy, and you can tell Bowling Green's a frustrated club right now after back-to-back blowouts. So just got to make sure that nothing escalates too quickly here in the third.
Shots on goal in that second period. 19-13 in favor of Indiana. The Hoosiers in their black sweaters. The second game they've played in these black sweaters that were delivered just a few weeks ago. And Bowling Green naturally in white from left to right.
Indiana now on the power play, Sam.
It'll be a nickel up on the board, a felony against Luke Schuler, who led the team in goals and assists before he was ruled out last season with that broken wrist. Indiana with an extra man has 2 goals this season, including a Jack Kissel power play goal in that second period. Moving forward is Whitliff, who had a quick wrist shot last night. Tucks it around the corner on the far side. Bounce back toward McDonald. Whitliff steps up, plays it along the blue line. Jeremy throws a shot on, deflected into the far corner. McDonald lays chase, but instead it glides past the scorer's table, and the Falcons get an opportunity for fresh legs.
They're going to have to be on the kill for a while here.
Indiana circles the wagons, and Jeremy races into the zone. Leaves it for Kissel, but instead it bounces back against the wall, where Dubendorfer ships it down. Kerr pushes it forward, and McDonald swirls behind his own cage. Has his eyes up in front of his own bench, cuts back across the center logo, and dumps it off to Kissel. Still 3.5 to go in this power play for Indiana. They'll have plenty of time as long as they can get a possession started. O'Flaherty entering the zone. Castricani has a goal tonight, and he decides a reset is in order as well. Indiana a change as the rookie Castricani holds off. Now 3 minutes even to go. Castricani working that goal line. Dumps it, and it's kept in the zone by DiLorenzo before he pirouettes and loses possession. Indiana again deciding to reset the offense before pushing it forward, Garrett. They haven't had a clean entry as of yet.
Still plenty of time here. They have more than what a full power play would normally be.
17.5 to go here in the third period. 8-1 the score. Castricani feeds it in front, and it's swallowed up by Brown calmly. So 2.5 minutes still on this power play for the Hoosiers, and they really have to take advantage of the chances they do get so they can get in the right rhythm when you play tough opponents in the back half of the season.
Got to take every rep seriously here on the man advantage, especially when you've struggled as much as this Indiana team has.
DiLorenzo keeps it in the zone and lets Slavin spin around in the far circle. Now exiting the zone again. Indiana on their heels. Hand off to Warner. He moves through the center circle and throws on the brakes right at the blue line before roulette wheeling the puck all the way across. Near side, DiLorenzo throws his legs against the boards, but the puck squirts free again. Seems like Indiana has been spending most of this power play in their own end, Garrett.
Yeah, they got to try to push here the final 145. Here they go.
Entry gained. Here comes Slavin trying to chop it down to himself. Now to DiLorenzo, who sends it all the way around turn 2. Moving in. Gustafson stick handles. Tries to feed it in front. It is scooped up into the dustpan by Brown to stop the clock at 1:32 remaining in the power play and 16:34 in the third.
Well, they've left Brown in to deal with the bulk of the fire here today. We saw him relieve Leo Lapata yesterday, but so far he's been the only one in action for the Falcons.
In a game against Wisconsin, Brown was lifted during warm-ups after sustaining an injury, wherein Lapata had to relieve him. Indiana still with a good 80 seconds left on this power play. Now toward Jeremy. He spins around, looks off his man, avoids the attack, and then throws the shot on. Kissel tries to jam it away. He's down to his knees. Jeremy knocks it down to himself and is pushed off the puck. He swirls around the outside of that circle, shot through traffic, kicked up and away. Puck floating through the air and back toward Whitliff. He works the blue line, shot right into the glove of Brown, and we are under 16 to go here in this game.
Still 50 seconds left for Indiana on the man advantage here. Trying to bump that percentage up a little bit.
4 shots on goal for Indiana thus far and none for the Falcons. Face off to the leather side of Brown. Indiana on the attack, but the puck wobbles all the way across the sheet. Whitliff collects it in his own end zone and will hand off to Jeremy. A pass the width of the D zone to McDonald, who gets a shot on right over the bar past the shoulder of Brown. O'Flaherty stamps on it, and McDonald's no-look pass doesn't find anybody of importance all the way across the ice again where Thompson collects it. 20 seconds left on this major power play. Indiana has had just 4 shots on goal in this 5-minute penalty. Now McDonald through his shot straight up toward the disco ball and bounces around the rafters in the HVAC system before coming back down. So 15-12 to go in the third and 10 seconds before we're back at even strength.
We still haven't seen as many pucks go up into the ceiling, Sam, as we're ideally used to here at the Frank, but maybe it's a sign of better things to come.
Draw won by the Hoosiers. Shot through traffic, smacks Matt Spears in the leg. Took a bite out of his leg there. And Hawkins, who went off the ice slowly earlier to draw this penalty, rushes into the zone. Back to 5 aside with 15 and change to go here in the third.
Dubendorfer was pretty shaken up as he heads to the bench, Sam. He just took his helmet off, and he still got his head down.
A couple Falcons were roughed up during that intermission, having to have some training staff members look after them. Hand fighting in front of the Indiana cage, and Hawkins avoids being pinned down, but Arana lets possession go to the Falcons. Second chance opportunity. Pushed forward by Kerr. Bounces up off the window. Twirl around in front, jam job, knocked free. And it's into the near side corner for Raftis, who can't thread the needle, and it smacks the roof, stopping the clock at 14-14. Indiana still up by a touchdown.
Add the extra point.
Took the words out of my mouth, Garrett. After this weekend's games, Indiana will head to Vinton, Virginia for the ACC Showcase. They'll play the North Carolina Tar Heels, the NC State Wolfpack, and the Virginia Tech Hokies. Played in the near side corner, that's Goodfellow, sidestepping his man, then gets beat around the puck, and Null has to stop it along and sandwich it between the boards. Castrocani kicks it back into the corner, and Null moving and maneuvering behind the cage. Played along the boards, and to Goodfellow, who chips it back into the corner. Whack free, Goodfellow corrals it, but can't keep possession going. 3-on-3 rush for the Falcons. Toe drag, Faria shot right over the bar. Outside the circle on this side. That's Papuano. After a little scrum, puck goes to the far side, and Kissel goes down hard. Shot blocked by Goodfellow. Merely needed to move his stick blade in front of the shot. Ferry lifts it forward, and the zone unable to be gained by the Falcons as they got a little bit too eager. D-to-D pass between Goodfellow and the intended target, Leo Warner, was intercepted by Offenbach, some friendly fire. Warner, a 2-line pass that bounces off the boards into the hands of an opponent. Now pushing forward is Horvath. He thinks about it. Centering pass to the backside. Rudo can't get a shot on. Another chance. That's Schnitsky trying to put a shot through. He can't do so, and the Falcons have to vacate. Indiana will get a change. 12.5 to go. Bounces off the backside of the cage. McDonald by himself with some space in the trapezoid. Doesn't lift the puck. Instead, carries it away. Now to the high slot. Moving through. A shot in traffic, and it goes straight into the chest of Brown to stop the clock at 12:14 to go in the third. Shots on goal 5-1, and the faceoffs 3-1 for Indiana.
8 minutes into this period, Sam, it looks like the Hoosiers trying to escape the weekend without any more bruises than they already have. It's been physical all season long, and Bowling Green letting their frustrations out a little bit here in these final few minutes.
Indiana on the attack. Warner a swing and a drive through traffic off a leg. Whitliff throws it in, trying to find a rebound shot, but no one was there. Thrust free and into the corner where Jeremy smacks it away. Spinning around, shielding the puck away. That was Nelson, but he gets his pocket picked. DiLorenzo trying to lunge forward, but it's offside, says the linesman on the far side, right in front of that Bowling Green bench. And the faceoff will come back toward Thompson's side of the sheet. Well, Garrett, now that Indiana is finally moving things in the right direction on Saturday, what do you think they'll be able to take momentum-wise going into that long road trip that we'll be taking part in next weekend?
They're going to be going into it with a winning streak, something we haven't been able to say this season yet. So you got to think that's already a good start, and they know that they can play at a high level. There's no question.
DiLorenzo gains the zone. His shot goes up into the ceiling and rolls back down the netting to stop the clock at just a bit under 11.5 to go. 8-1 the score for Indiana, and really a team effort all the way around.
Yeah, and it's games like these that are just very reassuring for a young team, knowing that you can play at this caliber, especially doing it 2 days in a row.
Puck thrown down to the ice by the linesman, and play ensues. Along the boards on the far side, Slavin cross-checks a man and wins the puck. Jeremy, a quick shot right over the crossbar. Along the glass on the near side, and a good long shot by Raftis. Straight at the face mask of the netminder Brown again. He shakes himself off as Indiana will get a quick change. Garrett, we talk about famous streaks in the history of sports. You've obviously got things like DiMaggio's hitting streak. A quick shot right in front. Second chance opportunity pushed free. And that power play streak of negative reactions was pretty tough so far. 0 for 25 until Indiana was able to break things up and get that power play goal. 10:40 in the third, and the puck rolls all the way across in front of the Indiana bench. And Garrett, it looks like pretty much half the team for Indiana has their left hip on the bench trying to get back onto the ice. Speaking of being on the ice, offside called by the linesman with 10:26 to go in the third.
Halfway through the period here, Sam, and really not much else to report on that we haven't touched on yet. Just really impressed with how Indiana came out today, no question about it though.
Another whistle blown, and we'll do it all over again as Brown was able to hold things off. One thing that the Bowling Green skaters talked about last season was their goals for this year. And Bertzlaff, the captain, talked about wanting to win the conference. And so far they've got a win already in conference play, but it'll be a tall task ahead of them the rest of the year. Gustafson stick handles, plays it to the goal line to Offenbach. Has his eyes up, moves through that circle, works the blue line, and receives it again. Gets checked, and now to Warner outside the circle on the near side. Gustafson reaches for it and wins it back. To Offenbach on the near glass again. Indiana cycling hectically through some pressure. Keeping into the zone, that's Offenbach. Jabbing it between the legs of his man. Finally pulled free by Gustafson, who avoids a hit. Bouncing past Offenbach toward his own side. Fresh legs on for the Falcons. And the Hoosiers will do the same. Dumped in by Warner, and he charges toward the bench to get this shift over with. McDonald on the far side. Fires a shot in, and Kissel steams around the boards, trying to catch up to the puck. Again, McDonald feeding it in front. O'Flaherty tries to reach for it, but couldn't hold on. To the far side, Coor. And into the near glass where some bodies collide again. O'Flaherty behind his own cage. Thompson standing up and looking at it. Poised for his first win of the season if this score holds. A shot from O'Flaherty, punched away by the waffle board of Brown. Centering pass, Kissel nearly got a lucky deflection goal. Almost kept in the zone, but McDonald decides to circle the wagons and survey his options. Being harassed by Mark Rudo on this near side. Indiana gets a change. O'Flaherty still on the puck. A shot right along the ice before he gets upended. Slavin loses possession, and now the whistle's been blown as we've got some pleasantries being exchanged on the near side with 8:13 to go in the third.
You just kind of had a feeling this was coming, Sam. You know, every game that ends in a blowout like this, it's going to get physical at the end. It's just a matter of how Indiana chooses to respond to it. Nitschke's going to the box as well.
Well, sometimes we get the hand signals, Garrett, and sometimes we're not quite able to see him due to an obstructed view, but we'll make the most of it and figure things out. And as we've said before, everything comes out in the wash. Glove side draw of Brown, and it's controlled by the Falcons. Whitliff rushes over to the near side glass, and it gets punched up into the ceiling again, smacking off the metal roof. Elbowing was the call on Nitschke. First time he's had a chance to sit in the box this season. Indiana again has an attacking side draw, and Whitliff scoots over. Lets McDonald work with it, kicked forward to the backside to Jeremy. He doesn't have a shooting lane, so decides to move around. McDonald passing it through. O'Flaherty tries to move forward. Jeremy a shot. Back away, kicked into the slot, and kept in the zone by Whitliff. Kissel turning around, no-look dump to O'Flaherty, and then all the way around to McDonald. Stolen away, and Nelson knocks it across the ice. Still 70 seconds left in this power play for the Hoosiers. Now forward with some speed. Jeremy rushing down the ice through the circle on the far side. Gets dispossessed. Now to Gustafson trying to work that puck free. And Leo Warner kicks it down. Again, it's shipped down the river where Thompson stops it quickly. 45 seconds left on this power play for Indiana. Last season, Nitschke had 27 penalty minutes, which was not in the top 5 of his team. The most by far was Luke Schuler with 60 in the regular season. Whistle blown for offside with 31 seconds remaining in this 5-on-4 advantage for Indiana. And 6:44, the time remaining on the big board.
DiLorenzo talking that one over with the linesman. Feels he might have got in there safely.
Castracani, who's already gotten his name in the goal column on the score sheet this afternoon, wins the faceoff and lets Gustafson play it around toward DiLorenzo. He spins away from his man. Zeeble throws him down to the ice, and now they're tangled up, something fierce. Finally free to Warner. Throws it through traffic. Shot on. Slavin a second chance into the belly of Brown, and the puck wobbles back behind the cage. Yanked away. Gustafson looking for a centering option. Instead, dumps it back toward DiLorenzo to start the cycle. Swinging a drive right into the foot of Zeeble. And a good shot blocked by a defenseman. Gustafson tries to go backhand. Puck slides through the crease and into the near side corner. Now some real sustained pressure by Indiana. What they've needed since the start of this season, but rarely get. Now Gustafson to the backside. Little too hot to handle for Castricani. He dumps it into the corner. DiLorenzo races around and gains possession before he is stood up along the glass. Into the circle. Slavin can't get a quick shot on. He had his stick lifted momentarily as the Falcons get a change. Castricani eyes up, gains the zone into the high slot before he is shouldered off the puck and then yanked down by opponent's stick. Zeeble not thrilled with him. Here's DiLorenzo with some space. And now we've got a real shoving match, some WWE stuff, Garrett. This goes further than extracurriculars. It looks like there might have even been punches thrown, Garrett.
Yeah, Castricani was not happy with Zeeble holding onto his stick there, and then they started holding on to each other, and they're going to the box.
Well, I'm a little surprised that the officiating crew hasn't just sent them both off for the night, considering we only have about 5.5 minutes remaining in this game. Trey Zeeble, the freshman, 2 penalty minutes coming into this weekend, and will sit for a little bit more. 4-on-4 action with under 5.5 to play, 5:22 to be exact. 8-1 still the score in favor of Indiana. And for the Hoosiers, this score line won't matter if it changes in favor of Indiana, as that 7-goal margin is the maximum allowed for the strength of schedule rankings in the ACHA. Thrown free, and the Falcons collect in their own zone. There's Tiggs looking for an option, decides to bounce it behind his own net. Pushing forward is Hardy. Wobbled through the slot, kicked to himself is Dubendorfer. He gets pushed away by Slavin, who does a little deke and flings it toward McDonald. One-man show. McDonald through traffic, gets pushed down and then smacked in the mouth. Oh, Offenbach races in to give him some help, and he's being harassed as well. Has a stick under his armpit and keeps playing. Pass blocked. As one of the alternate captains, Jake Schutte, goes down to a knee to block that. 4:20 to go in the game. Indiana up by 7. Beautiful afternoon for hockey, and we're told a beautiful afternoon for college football outside as well, Garrett. Here comes Raftis. He gains the zone. Maneuvers outside of man. And then holds on, waiting for something else to materialize. Offenbach charges in. Gets it toward Raftis, who does a little stick handle. Can't keep the puck on his stick, and Offenbach lunges to get the puck free. McDonald a shot. Behind the net and through the trapezoid. Poked back to himself. Little self-wall pass. A shot high over the bar. McDonald couldn't hit the target. 15 seconds on the matching minors that were assessed to Castricani and Zeeble after their tussle. Jeremy enters the zone, and Raftis can't give him any help. Here comes Hawkins facing off against Ferry. Trying to toe drag. Doesn't get a shot off, and the Indiana defensemen materialize again. Into the far corner, and whacked out of the air. Thompson throws his stick at the puck, trying to clear it, and does so successfully. Puck gets 9-ironed through center ice, and it twirls like a top across the center circle as we're back to 5 aside. Ferry in front of the scorer's table looks up and decides his best option is a roulette wheel to the far side. Stood up by Bertzlaff. Whitliff played forward to Null. A quick give and go to Arana. Caught back down around the belt by Null and sent all the way across. So Indiana will have to retreat. Garrett, it looks like the Indiana football team not doing as well as the Hoosiers hockey team. 20-17. They're losing against Maryland. That's a tough afternoon. Puck behind the cage, and Arana and Jeremy going to work, trying to cross-check someone in the back. Now Slavin, turns the corner, holding on, trying to find an option to Jeremy. Center of the slot, Whitliff dumps it for Warner. Thinks about a fake shot. Now Jeremy a shot, deflection, top shelf score! Jeremy shot for the deflection, and Arana was there to answer. 9-1 Indiana, under 2 minutes to play.
Couldn't have done it much better than that. Emilio Arana just stationed himself right in front of Brown and got a little piece of it and ended up going top shelf in the corner.
Second goal of the season from Emiliano Arana. Freshman from Winnetka, Illinois. Spun all the way across. And again, Indiana on the attack with 1:40 to go. DiLorenzo tries to center it. It does. It slides right between the skate blades of Cam Horvath and then dunked around. O'Flaherty to DiLorenzo on the far side. Sidesteps a man. Quick shot. Wrister gets bounced around. Laying chase is Warner along with Nitschke. Centering pass. Horvath a drive. Up into the air. Another opportunity. Over to the Hardy. His shot gets blocked in traffic, and O'Flaherty looks like he caught it in the leg. Shot wobbles free. Warner goes down to a leg to try and clear it. And it's off to DiLorenzo. DiLorenzo, a 3-on-2 odd man rush. Holds on to it. Feeds to Arana. Another shot. Bounces off the chest. Juicy rebound. And back into the center circle where Hogan cleans it up. Garrett, I've got to make a correction. It's Joliet, Illinois for our buddy Nano. 45 seconds to go, and still finishing his check is Nano. Off the red line boards in front of the center circle. Null gets the kick to himself. Flips to Goodfellow, whose fire of a pass ends up with Null. His shot. Good save by the shoulder protection on Zach Brown. 23 seconds to go. 9-1 the score. Shots on goal, 16-3, Garrett. That is dominance and closing out a game.
Absolutely all gas here in this third period. Just letting it rip. Not satisfied with an 8-1 lead, and they ended up adding to it.
Draw on the near side with half a minute to play in this weekend's contests. Won by Indiana. Offenbach, the senior, one of the most experienced guys on this roster for Indiana. Watches it go past him again. Sticks his leg out, and we'll have an offside called as the aforementioned Offenbach was able to halt play and stall things just a little bit. Enough to neuter that attack.
Indiana with 7 seconds in a dream here to get their first Saturday win.
Well, it would be a momentous occasion, especially on Parents' Weekend, Garrett. We've got plenty of family and friends in attendance. And as the clock winds down, that's how this one will end. So a hard-fought victory on Friday night results in a 10-2 victory. And on Saturday afternoon, the rubber match between the Falcons of Bowling Green and the Hoosiers of Indiana. A win on Saturday for the first time this year. 9-1 the final score. The Indiana Hoosiers put a tally in the win column and get back-to-back wins for the first time.
Yeah, Sam, just an all-around great performance from this team. The parents picked a good weekend to come down, a debut of the black uniforms, and so far the Hoosiers 2-0 wearing the black sweaters, and you've only got to think it's uphill from here for the rest of the season.
Well, we will send it to a quick break to the studio before we get the stats, final figures, and a quick summary of this game, and maybe even an on-ice interview if Coach Weiss obliges us this time. Alongside Andrew Goose on the tech and the stats today, Kelsey Dennehey working the camera and some color and the on-ice interviews, and Garrett Drake, my trusty right-hand man. I've been Sam Weixler saying so long. Thank you so much for listening to Club Hockey at Indiana University on the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network. 9-1 the final. The Hoosiers put a tally in the win column.
just wait till they tell me. I'm here with head coach Andrew Weiss after the Indiana Hoosiers swept the Bowling Green State Falcons in a 9-1 victory this Saturday afternoon. Coach, what was the major focus on your guys' week off to come into this weekend ready for success?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was the mental game and the mental focus and playing a full 60 minutes. And, I mean, it wasn't a full 60-minute effort, even though the score kind of dictated that a little bit. We got off to a slow start yesterday and got off to a good start today and didn't really carry it into the second and third. But we'll take a sweep and finally a Saturday win.
Absolutely. And going into special teams a little bit, you guys were finally able to secure a power play goal and a couple this weekend. What are you guys looking to do going forward to continue that streak?
Yeah, our power play, we worked on it quite a bit this weekend, or this past week. Thursday we did quite a bit of film on it, and I think we showed a lot of the simplicities and what we weren't doing in regards to just moving the puck and moving without the puck. So it was encouraging to see a little bit of that. Still not perfect with our power play, but we'll get there. And I mean, our penalty kill continues to be really, really strong for us.
Absolutely. And going into an away tournament next weekend, what's your biggest focus in practice this week?
Yeah, I mean, so 3 games in three days, that's obviously what's probably going to take to go to regionals. And then obviously the ultimate goal is to win 5 games in 5 days for nationals. So this is a good first test for us. I think probably our endurance is there. It's just focusing on one game at a time, and obviously NC State right off the hop they were a top 10 team in the country last year. So we're excited for the test and to go out there and play some teams maybe we otherwise wouldn't.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and congratulations. For the Indiana Hockey Broadcast Network and head coach Andrew Weiss, I'm Kelsey Dennehey. We'll see you next weekend.